Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide. Welcome to this week's map reading task. This week we've got a sunny day in the Lake District. All days in the Lake District are sunny, I wish. So what we're looking for is, can you identify the feature circled in yellow? So that's this feature here. I'll zoom in shortly so we can have a better look at that. So can you identify that, and can you identify any other significant features? How can we work out what this feature is? The map that we're using this week is the Ordnance Survey 1 to 50,000. And the photo was actually not on the map. We're off up here somewhere to the northeast off the top of the map. So we're looking from the northeast, roughly southeastwards, to see those features. So let's have a look. And what can we see? Well, first of all, we've got this obvious large body of water, in this case a lake here, and we're looking across the head of that lake. We've got a distinctive wooded hill here, quite a bit lower than the higher mountains beyond. If we go beyond that, we've got this rocky summit with a distinctive ridge coming down to its left as we look, and then beyond that, more high mountains coming around almost in a like a C shape, if you like, encircling our feature in the middle. We've got some distinctive woodland here and here, and we can also see we've got some built up areas here. So let's zoom in a little bit. There we can see the distinctive hill. There we can see woodland, built up area, more woodland. The woodland to the right is just out of sight here, but we can see that summit, and there's actually a path coming down, and our point that we're trying to identify is between this summit and this summit. So if we could identify these two, that's going to help us identify what's in between them. So let's see if we can identify this wooded hillside to start with, and we can see that it's at the head of the lake with this high ground behind. Well, here's the head of the lake. Remember, we're looking from top right. So if we cross the head of the lake, then we get all this woodland here, and then we get this summit here, Swinside 244. And then beyond that, we have some higher ground, Causey Pike 637. So that wooded area there is Swinside. So if we look at map and photo side by side, Swinside there, which is that, and then beyond it, this high rocky hill here with this ridge coming down to the left as we look, that is Causey Pike there with the long ridge coming down towards Rolling End there. So if that's Causey Pike, what is this hill that's a bit closer to us with a long ridge coming down back towards us slightly? Well, there's Causey Pike. So what we're looking at there is Barrow with the ridge coming down there. So that's those. What about further right? So if we were to continue on from Causey Pike, beyond and behind, you can see we go along this ridge, little high point and a drop and a higher hill there, and then an even higher one behind that. So there we're looking from Causey Pike, looking along Scar Crags, little unnamed high point there, and then a slight drop and a climb up again to Sale. So Sale there is there, and then we've got this Crag Hill and along to Eel Crags there. So that is that there. Okay, so what's even further right then? So if we continue on from Crag Hill to the right, drop down and then climb up again, and we can see we've got this big high mountain summit here with a path going down, and we can just about see the line of woodland leading up towards it. So from Crag Hill and Eel Crag, drop down to the Hawes and then come round here ahead of Coaldale. We've got Grizedale Pike there with a public right of way coming down towards us, and then this edge of woodland here with the woodland of Hospital Plantation. That line there is that line there. So if we go back to the original photo, it gives us a clearer picture. So that there is that Hospital Plantation. So the point that we want is between Grizedale Pike and Causey Pike. So what can it be? Well, if we look on the map, we've got Grizedale Pike and Causey Pike. So the only hills in between are Outerside 568, Stile End 447. We've already identified Barrow, so it's one of these two. If you look at the contours, this is higher, looks a bit more prominent, so it would make sense that we're looking at Outerside rather than Stile End, but let's just check. So I've zoomed right in there and we can just about make out Stile End here, slightly obscured by the yellow circle, and then that is the higher point of Outerside. So that was your answer this week. We were looking at Outerside and those other significant hills. So hope you got that right. Thanks for watching. Look out for next week's map reading task. Bye for now.